He got rid of almost everybody, but he let DaBaby stay behind with him and his close friends. And then he talked about how Beyonce was there, Jay-Z was there. Not at their house, at Diddy's house.
DaBaby may have just revived his dead career after he came out to expose Beyonce and accused her of being on those Diddy tapes. DaBaby claims he literally saw Beyonce there himself, and she tried to get him to blow her back right in front of Jay-Z and Diddy. Beyonce has already been accused of having something to do with Diddy right from the start of this mess, but DaBaby came through with the receipts that everyone was waiting for, and it's safe. To say it's over for our girl, it turns out that she wasn't just indulging in these freak-offs. Jay was allegedly also servicing her out as a high-end ES, and he made her go through with this by filling her up with an unholy amount of nose candy. Apparently, the reason why B has been doing these back-to-back world tours is because she and Jay are trying to rack up as much money as they can before everything comes out in Diddy's trial, because they know their careers will not be the same by the time it's over. These DaBaby and Beyonce allegations started flooding around when a clip of DaBaby's interview on Club Shay Shay started trending. In the interview, he spilled some major tea about the time Diddy invited him for a private meeting in his house, and he ended up meeting Beyonce and Jay-Z there as well. He said the link-up was supposed to be a secret meeting, but once he got there, Diddy kicked everyone out, leaving only them in the room, and as soon as it was just the four of them, Beyonce started to loosen up and approach him. He said Beyonce walked up to him to introduce herself, almost as if she was trying to flirt her way into something more than just a conversation. According to DaBaby, Diddy also started to get a little touchy and even put his hands around his neck. He didn't go into much detail about what happened after that, but people added one and two together and got the memo very fast.
I was at a party at Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020. You know what I mean? Diddy had put everybody else out the crib, like the influx of people, he had put them out. But he had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me.
Right.
So he had put majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there. Mm-hmm. Me and, you know, maybe about 15 others, you know,
right.
Jay-Z and Beyonce being, you know, two of the other 15 people in the room. So that'll just put into perspective of the type of company I was in
right.
at the moment, you know. And she came over and introduced herself to me like as if she had to.
Right.
Beyonce, cut it out. But I'm a big fan of your work, you know what I'm saying? Whoop the whoop, and that was just dope. That was dope as hell to me, man. That was dope.
This sent the internet into a frenzy and had a lot of people giving Beyonce the side eye. One person said, "Oh, she came over and introduced herself to you. The Beyonce introduced herself to you. We wake it up." Another person said, "You let that man put his arm around you. DaBaby, of course, he took a liking to you. It wasn't even about your music, it was in other ways." And of course Beyonce did. She weirded herself and Jay-Z weirded her. Everybody who went to Diddy parties is guilty, as if all this wasn't messy enough. Jaguar Wright brought it up again in a recent interview, and she confirmed that the private meeting was in fact a freak-off. She brought this up while going off on Shannon Sharpe for messing with underage girls even when they were young enough to be his grandkids. She said the reason DaBaby held back from saying it was a freak-off was because Shannon had been working closely with Jay-Z and Beyonce to secure his NFL deal, and the last thing he was going to do was let someone come on his show and defame them. Even if DaBaby had revealed everything, Jaguar claims Shannon would have most likely edited that part out to protect B and J because of his loyalty to them.
Is a broke-down Mandingo fighter still working on behalf of the NFL. That's what he is. Period. You want to know what else I also find funny? That he did that interview with that DaBaby person who sat there and told him about when he met Beyonce. Y'all remember that? That happened on Shay Shay. And he talked about how he was at the Diddy party at Diddy's house. And how after, the festivities were winding down and it was getting later into the middle of the night, approaching 3 a.m., Diddy got rid of almost everybody, but he let DaBaby stay behind with him and his close friends. And then he talked about how Beyonce was there, and Jay-Z was there. Not at their house, at Diddy's house. And how Beyonce presented herself to him. And she didn't have to do that because he knew who she was and he couldn't believe she was talking to him. But she approached him. Kind of like how she approached that old friend of his when he said that he was at the party and the little people was there and she asked him, "Isn't this sexy?" My. How illuminating. There's been a lot of freaking off going on for a long time. Why does everybody keep... Let me tell you this. Beyonce, Giselle knows Carter. It does not matter how much money they spend, how many people those tickets ain't gonna sell. You're caught. I wish you had the common sense that animals do when they're caught. They just surrender. But no, y'all gonna fight it to the very end. Y'all gonna bring this broke down old NFL bum who apparently will do anything with his genitals to help cover or create validity where there is none with the weirdos with his little orange purse, screwing people's kids, screwing kids young enough to be his grandchildren. Shame on you. You a dirty old man. Period.
This entire thing got a lot of folks thinking, and they quickly started to piece things together. And some people even speculated that Jay was servicing B out to Diddy for these freak-offs. These rumors went even more viral when people brought up those allegations that B's alleged ex-bodyguard Uncle Ron made shortly before he died about Jake keeping B hooked on substances in order to control her.
I'll say, man, yeah, Beyonce's on. She been on him for a long time. And you keep her there.
A lot of people felt like Jay allegedly keeping B on was very similar to what Diddy was doing to Cassie. If y'all remember, Cassie said the only way she was able to bring herself into doing those freak-offs was if she was on drugs because she wasn't able to do it sober. But it doesn't stop there. Jaguar, right, also stepped into the chat a few months ago, and she also accused Jay of keeping Beyonce on substances for the same reasons. Uncle Ron was claiming,
more drugs he pumps down his wife's throat to keep her in a
no, girl. Not my beautiful Beyonce 5.
I tell you this right now, y'all talking about free Britney. Y'all need to be doing a campaign that say free Beyonce.
Beyonce is free.
She is a prisoner in a gilded cage.
And then there was this viral video of Beyonce looking zoned out at a basketball game with Jay, and she could barely keep her eyes open and kept slowly swinging her head side to side to stay awake. Her PR team at the time tried to get ahead of the situation by claiming she was just tired from her rehearsals, but no one was buying it. Shortly after this, Beyonce's assistant told Media Takeout that Jay was putting his hands on Beyonce. The assistant said, "Seems that for a while he's had a problem with keeping his hands to himself. Now I've never seen him just flat out strike B, but too many times have I seen him shove and push her. At first I thought it was just a little horseplay thing between the two, but once I saw how embarrassed B was to be manhandled in front of me and Sanrope, I realized it was no joke. I've been Beyonce's assistant and friend for a while now, and I've always wanted to say something, but I never felt it was my place. He treats Beyonce like she's an object and not a person." According to the popular gossip YouTuber Storm Monroe, Diddy's trial is the reason Beyonce has been throwing all these products and tours in our faces, and she doesn't know where her career will be by the end of this year, and she needs to stack up as much as she can. If y'all remember, she initially launched her clothing line with Adidas Ivy Park that came and went. Then she went on the Renaissance World Tour, released a movie for the movie in theaters to make even more money, then released her Cowboy Carter album. Then she put out a perfume line as well as a tequila brand, and now on another tour again, which people claim feels rushed and last minute.
Why they're already living separate lives, and we may actually see one of the biggest divorces in Hollywood is because Jay-Z's up next to be exposed. And it's only so much of these stories that Jay-Z can, he can pay off or he can block. He won't be able to stop this. And she knows it and he knows it too. As far as who's gonna be the breakout victim / story, I don't know. Yeah, I might have to ask you something. I don't know. But I'm just letting you know that once that comes out and Jay-Z is exposed for his nefarious past, you're gonna see Beyonce divorced. Okay. And she may or may not do an interview, but their publicist is gonna release something. She's gonna say, oh, the Carters have been separated for some time. They built this beautiful life, blah, 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 blah. Now, before all this happens, we may get another tour. We may get another album out of both of them. I don't know, because at the end of the day, they about their money first. They're gonna do what's best for business first. As far as Beyonce is concerned, do she love him? I mean, he's really all that she knows.
A source allegedly close to her, Ashley, also came out and confirmed everything in a blind item that read, "Industry insiders have been whispering about this for a while. If you're wondering why her bodyguard chased after her at that big awards show recently, it's because Stinger has threatened to flee the country multiple times. She's done with the control, the pressure, and the handlers who make every decision for her. They're afraid she'll leave without notice, and they're right." TaPeS Singer suffers from depression and has us thoughts her team sees her as a danger to herself, but what they're really afraid of is losing their cash cow. They've kept her under control for years, but they won't be able to much longer. She's on the verge of rebelling. She's fed up with her mother's control. She's tired of her husband's influence. Child, it's unclear just how far deep Jay-Z has dragged Beyonce into this mess, but it's also about to get exposed, and no amount of fame or power is going to be enough to stop them, especially when Diddy's trial starts. One person said, "You can't be in Diddy's circle for 30 years and not know or not be a part of it, because we know Diddy's rules were if you hang out, you participate, or you're not hanging out." Another person said, "B parents sold her to Jay-Z, and then Jay-Z sold her to the industry." Freddie P from the band confirmed the infamous cheesecake walk they did. Diddy didn't want it and told someone to take it to be why would be with Diddy. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about Beyonce allegedly getting her back blown by Diddy in his house? And do you think she's really on those tapes? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.